be absolutely devastating.
This is Joey Owens' show. They've been trying to get me on this broadcast forever, and this is the worst damn broadcast I've ever been on. So you all can kiss my ass while I win this match.
All right, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to G.W.R. Gonzo'S Wrestling Room, Monday, September 11th, 2023. I'm Chris Gonzalez, joined by Tony Gonzalez and Marcus Fine. How's it going, guys?
Good. Yeah, really good.
That all, you go ahead and go.
Well, we'll go ahead and get going. We'll get started
How's it going, Chris?
with some indie wrestling. Me and Chris and Gonzo'S Wrestling Room, also with Marcus. We didn't have any shows that we did this weekend, but I know Marcus went to a couple shows on Friday and Saturday. So, Marcus, I'll let you go ahead and take it away.
All righty. 2 shows. Let's say it's my only wrestling theology show so far this year. Probably will be my only one. I think they only got one more going. I think we're already booked. And then we went to Emerge, which is my second show on Saturday, second show of the year for Emerge. So, all right, Wrestling Theology, Sizzling Slam Fest in Carmel on Friday. You know, I've not been in that location, so pretty nice building. If you've ever been in those Mercy churches, you would know that that's a heck of a venue for wrestling. But, all right. Adam Roygus defeated Ace Perry to retain the WTF US title. Cam Walker, who we've seen down in Kentucky, defeated the Space Cowboy, Gaston LaRue, and Dion Pitt Freeman. That was in a fatal 4-way, and he became the number 1 contender for the WTF title. So next time, Cam Walker will take on Adam Roygus, and I think that shows in November. Juwan Thomas defeated Cassius Starr. Cassius Starr is the son of Apollo Starr. Warhorse, which is a tag team, defeated Total Chuckles to retain the WTF tag team titles. Ari Alexander defeated Bashley Bones to become the new WTF ladies champion. Drew Skills and Firefighter Tim defeated Big D and Tony Dynamite. And the reason Firefighter Tim was in there is because this was like a fundraiser for the Carmel firefighters. And in the match of the week for me, Jeremy Hagley defeated Apollo Starr in a last man standing match to become the new WTF heavyweight champion. So then on Sunday, hang on a minute, try to get this going. And Emerge was Emerge 71 State of Emergency Night 2, Columbus, Indiana. Last month they did a King of the Ring, and this month they did a King of the Ring, and the 2 winners of those will go next month for the Emerge heavyweight title that was surrendered by, I'll get back to that as soon as I think of it. Can't think of it right now. But anyway, in the Facebook live match, Chet Ripley defeated Roger Malcolm. And then in the first round matches to crown the new heavyweight title, Mikey defeated Jeremy Hadley via submission. Count Noctis defeated Kellen Craven. Deontay Davis defeated Jack Bravado. And Lord Crew defeated Larry D. And that was the match of the night for me. Down there was Lord Crew and Larry D. Then second round matches was Mikey defeated Count Noctis by submission. Now get this, Tony. Lord Crew defeated Deontay Davis with a bear hug. When's the last time you seen anybody use a bear hug, let alone win by using a bear hug?
Yeah.
So even Roger looked at him. He says, "Boy, that's pretty old school." That's pretty old school. And then Mikey defeated Lord Crew, and he'll go on to wrestle next month against Daniel Eads, who were on last month, and they will go to see who's the new Emerge heavyweight champion. And Braden Lee is the one who surrendered. I knew it. You give me a minute, I think it was. Braden Lee surrendered his title because he became a new father, and I don't know if he retired temporarily and surrendered the title. So those shows were outstanding. Emerge was a sellout. I'd say Wrestling Theology 80%. Both crowds were very wild, very loud, and very into it. And every match was fantastic. So it was a good weekend of wrestling.
That's great. Yeah, it sounds really interesting. It sounds like yeah, the bear hug thing. That's kind of crazy. Because like you said, you don't see that, and you don't see a lot of anymore. You don't see a lot of submissions either. And the
No,
guy
and
was
the
winning
guy
his matches by submissions.
he used the same submission on both Hagley and Noctis. I couldn't tell you what it was, but he used the same one. And evidently that's his thing because as soon as he did, everybody chants, "You tapped out, you tapped out." That's what the crowd. So evidently that's what he does. Now I wasn't familiar with this Mikey guy, but he was very good, very over with the fans. So I don't know where he come from, but they know him down there.
Yeah, that sounds pretty awesome. Pro wrestling this week, all the shows were pretty good that I watched. I thought the best show this week, personally, was NXT. I like what they're doing. I think it was the best show. I thought Raw was good. I thought Dynamite was all right, not bad. I didn't get to watch the Saturday show for AEW. I missed it. SmackDown was decent. I just got to see that late last night because I was busy on Friday. But all shows were pretty good. But two things I wanted to bring up about pro wrestling. First one, I'm gonna be straight up honest because I just thought of it. I don't remember his name, but Amanga's son, who just started professional wrestling uh, in Texas with Booker T. I don't know if it's a good sign. He's no longer with Booker T. Booker T announced that they parted ways and just said basically had differences and they couldn't come to terms on those differences. And there we go.
See, Billy says, "Hey,
Zila,
how's it going, Billy?"
Zila Fatu. Thanks,
Justin
House.
Terrell has some
Probably heard
breaking
that.
news.
Probably has. Yep,
I
I
don't know
hear
what
that.
was on there.
What's up,
Hey, how's it
Mr.
going?
House?
How's it going, Hollywood?
But yeah, I don't know if that's a good sign. If
NXT has been on the rise.
being in Texas and everything with Booker T, and a lot of people that's in the WWE has had success with Booker T getting to the next level, and this didn't work out for whatever reason. So I don't know what's going on there. Hopefully, he can get on the right track. The other
Well, look at that. We got
thing
Jordan
I
Bell
was going
here
to bring
too.
up,
Yeah, how's it going, Hypocrisy?
yeah, cool. And the next thing I was going to bring up was I seen an article about Kevin Nash talking to Shawn Michaels, and he was in NXT, and he told him, "Man, you guys need to slow down. You need to." And Michaels told him, "said Man, you need to get over it. This is the style now." He said, "We can't have people going out there and doing rest holds. They can't go out there and do power strength, serious power strength. You can't." He said, "You can't do that anymore." He said, "It don't work." And
Hollywood said reality of wrestling has created many stars.
yes, it has.
And then I know you'll agree with this. Fox Jones says NXT really is the most complete show on TV again.
Yes, it's the best written. I know Bully Ray and the guys on Busted Open was talking about that it's the best written show on TV of any of them. But yeah, I thought that was kind of crazy, because Nash was telling Shawn Michaels, and Shawn Michaels says, things have changed. You have to change with it, which I agree with. But Marcus, I wanted to get your take on this. Yeah, I don't think I want to see Chris Jericho and another smaller wrestler, let's say Sammy Guevara, because they're going to be wrestling here soon. I don't know if I want to see them do a power of strength, but I don't have a problem with seeing a couple of big wrestlers doing the test of strength. So I think it's in the context you put it in
Yes, I agree.
and how you do it.
You see a lot of that in the Indies anymore too. I bet we see it 2 or 3 times every night. Of let's do a test of strength. That's one of them. That's getting old, guys. Move on. But
yeah, I listened to that episode with you guys' friend on it. Yep, I sure did. The other night at work.
Hey, how's it going, Damien?
Okay, and that was basically all I had for pro wrestling this week. We'll move on to some of the topics we had. Um, one of the main topics we had for this week was who's making up our own list of the top 15 women in professional wrestling of all time. Real quick to give some takes on this, I went by Sportster's list of top 10. I'm just going to put that out there what they had, and then we'll do our list. Sportster had top 10, Mickey James 10, Beth Phoenix 9, Alondra Blaze 8, Bailey 7, Sasha Banks 6, China 5, Lita 4, Becky Lynch 3, Trish Stratus 2, and Charlotte Flair number 1. That was their top 10 list. And I'm going to be honest, when I went to do my top 15 list, I couldn't do 15. I kept adding people. I ended up with 23.
Oh, I stopped at 15. The first 15 ladies that hit my head is why I hit the paper. And then I didn't touch it because I was going to be like you. If I get to thinking about it, then I'd have 6 pages of women. So
I saw a list that had Charlotte Flair, like
Yes.
at number like 26 or something.
Yeah.
It was like the top 35 women wrestlers of all time, and Charlotte Flair was like 26.
Well, who was number 1 on that list? You remember?
Oh, no. I don't remember. Actually, I don't think it showed me. I think it let me get to like number 6, like Becky Lynch like at 15 or 16 or something on that list. But it was just surprising to me, especially Charlotte Flair be that low on the list.
Chris, you want to go with your list first?
Yeah, I can. Okay. Mine, I had Charlotte Flair, Trish Stratus, China, Mae Young.
Are you starting at 1 or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I started at 1. Lita, Becky, Bianca Belair, Paige, Beth Phoenix, Sasha Banks, Alexa Bliss, Bailey, Mickey James, and Nikki Cross.
I'm going to go next, and I'm going to start with number 23 because that's where I went with Luna Vachon, Mae Young, Moolah was 21, 20 was Wendy Richter, 19 Jacqueline Moore. Some people will get upset with me for this one. 18 Sasha Banks, 17 Bailey, 16 Gail Kim, 15 Sherry Martel, 14 Bianca Belair, 13 Rhea Ripley, who I think someday will be maybe number 1. I can see that. Number 12 Victoria, number 11 Molly Holly, number 10 Mickey James, number 9 Alondra Blaze, number 8 I had Beth Phoenix, number 7 I had Asuka, 6 Lita, 5 China, 4 Natalia. I don't think she gets enough credit. Her wrestling ability in the ring is outstanding. I don't think they emphasize that enough. Number 3 Trish Stratus, number 2 Charlotte Flair, number 1 Becky Lynch, and the reason that is because I don't think any of these women have got as popular as she did. So I'm going to go with her number 1, even though as far as all ring, I think Charlotte Flair is probably the best in the ring. Okay, Marcus?
All right. Mine is in no particular order except Charlotte Flair is number 1. And then mine, I had trouble putting them in order, so I didn't put them in order except Charlotte Flair is number 1. So I had Charlotte Flair, I had Moolah, Mae Young, Sherry Martel, Becky Lynch, Molly Holly, Lita, Trish Stratus, China. I call her Medusa Bacelli. You guys do Alondra Blaze, but
yeah,
I go a little older school than that. Do Medusa, Bailey, Bianca Belair. Did any of you guys have Alexa Bliss on your list?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
You both did? Okay. Rhea Ripley and Paige. And I could be wrong, but I think every one of them but Mae Young, and she probably was sometime down the line, was a champion at one time.
Yeah.
I'm sure Mae Young in her 400 years of wrestling was a champion sometime in there.
And she was the first woman to ever do a drop kick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one list I was talking, they had Gail Kim ranked higher than they did Charlotte Flair.
And I don't know about that.
Next up, we'll do the thing that we had set up for the top 10 greatest gimmick matches of all time bracket. And just together here. We're going to start off with the 8-9 matchup. If I can find my bracket here.
Yeah, they have Natalia at number 29, Charlotte Flair at number 28,
Really?
Toni Storm at 27, AJ Lee at 26, Candice LeRae at 25, Bianca Belair was 24. Yeah, they have Gail Kim at 18.
Wonder where that list was because I didn't see that list.
Lita's number 15.
They have number 1.
That's what I'm trying to get to. They have Rhea Ripley at 13. Come on.
I lost my paper there for a minute, guys.
You lost that list of matches?
Well, I'm not seeing it here right
The last one is showing me is number 6.
If you want me to read them off, you can keep track of them.
They have Trish Stratus at 6.
I'll keep track of them, Marcus.
All right.
Okay,
So
we've got
which
an
one you want
8-9
me
matchup.
All right, you're 8-9.
We'll go
Okay,
with 8-9 matchup.
this is gimmick matches, right? List
Yeah,
of
the greatest gimmick matches of all time.
It's the top 10, and we're
This
doing
This was done by Bleacher Report.
reader participation or watcher participation, so everybody chime in here. All right, your 8-9 bracket. The number 8 bracket was Jeff Hardy versus The Undertaker on Monday Night Raw in a ladder match.
Okay, that was number 8.
Yes. And then the number 9 bracket was Kurt Angle versus Jericho versus Chris Benoit for the IC title. Yeah, I don't know where that was at. I think that might have been a Raw as well.
I think that was on a pay-per-view.
It could have been. I'm going number 9. I'm going with 9. Kurt, Jericho, Benoit.
I agree with that too. Chris, you got an opinion? Do you remember?
I'm going to go with Kurt and Jericho and Benoit.
Okay, next matchup is a 7 versus 10 matchup.
All right. 7 is an elimination match, the very first elimination match. Triple H,
Elimination Chamber, yep.
Kane, Shawn Michaels, Booker T, RVD, and Y2J. And that's going against who?
Number 10.
10 is Bob Orton. Shoot, that old schools me. Randy Orton and Ric Flair at Taboo Tuesday.
You said it was Orton and who?
Ric Flair,
Flair.
Taboo Tuesday. I'm going with 10.
See, I'm going with the Elimination
I'm
Chamber.
going to go with the Elimination Chamber match.
See if anybody else is going to give us a vote on that. Which was the better match, guys? Which was the better gimmick match? The first Elimination Chamber or the Randy Orton Flair at Taboo Tuesday?
Billy with Orton and Flair.
So we're 2-2, guys. What I liked about that Elimination Chamber, that was the first one. That's the where they they used all real steel and they about killed each other.
Glenn went with the Elimination Chamber.
Was that also the debut of Scott Steiner in the WWE?
That may have been, Marcus.
Yeah, I think it was. Because it wasn't its own pay-per-view yet. It was part of what, SummerSlam or something like that.
We'll go with the Elimination Chamber. Okay, next matchup, Marcus, will be we'll do the 1 versus I believe it was Kurt Angle and them, the 9. So it'll be Kurt Angle and
Okay, so number 1 against. Okay, well, they're going up against Mankind and Taker and Hell in a Cell at King of the Ring. Where he got thrown off the cage. And
Taker.
1. I'll go 1.
Yep, I'm going with Mankind and Taker also.
What's up, Glenn?
Yeah, Glenn said that was his debut. They came out in a promo with Chris Nowinski and Matt Hardy hating on the MSG crowd.
I thought it was.
You're right. What do you think, Chris? You liking the Mankind Taker?
Yeah. I'm going to right tell you who's going to win this bracket.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we know who's
I
going to
mean,
win.
yeah.
Number 2 we're going for today, I guess.
Okay.
Just going up against
Next,
Taker at the end.
Next up, then, is going to be the 2 versus the Elimination Chamber. First
Okay.
Elimination Chamber versus number 2.
Bret Hart, Stone Cold submission match at whatever WrestleMania that was. 13, I believe.
Yeah. That was a good match. It helped make
And
Stone Cold.
what's that going after?
It's going against the first Elimination Chamber match ever.
Oh, well, then I'm going to have to go with Bret and Stone Cold.
I think so, too. Chris, what do you think?
Bret and Stone Cold. Justin Danger says Bret and Stone Cold.
Okay, next up, we got a 4-5 matchup.
All right. Number 4 is Shawn Michaels and Triple H in a last man standing match. And number 5 was WrestleMania 2000, Hardy's, Dudley's, Edge and Christian, TLC.
Yep. I'm going with the TLC.
I'm going with TLC.
Who's it going against?
It was the Shawn Triple H last man standing against the first, basically the first TLC match.
Hardy's, Dudley's, and Edge and Christian.
Justin Danger said TLC made all of them. And then Glenn said fatal 4-way TLC.
Okay, we got a 3 versus 6 matchup, and then we'll be down to the final 4.
All right,
Probably a pretty good final 4.
this will be interesting. Number 3 is the Shawn Michaels Bret Hart WrestleMania Iron Man match. And number 6 is Mick Foley and Edge in the WrestleMania Hardcore match, where
Oh, man.
Edge throws him through the flaming table at the end. I'm going to have to go with the Hardcore because I like Hardcore more than I do Iron Man.
I'm going to go with, was it Shawn and Bret?
Shawn and Bret for the Iron Man match, where Shawn won the title.
I'm going with Shawn and Bret also. Then Richards going Foley and Edge. Justin Daniels going
Foley and Edge.
Foley and Edge.
Glenn's going Foley and Edge.
It's going to be Foley and Edge, guys. So, Our final four, we got Mankind and Taker against the TLC. And we have
Hart and Stone Cold
Bret Hart
against
and
Bowling Edge.
Bret Hart and Stone Cold. Submission match against Foley and Edge. So let's go with the first one first. Mankind and Taker, Hell in Cell against the TLC. What do you guys like better? I'm going with Mankind and Taker personally.
Yeah, we'll go one. The next one's going to be hard to pick.
Okay, it's going to be Taker and Mankind. And now we got to pick between Bret Hart and Stone Cold submission against the Foley and Edge hardcore match.
I'm going to have to go with two.
I'll go with Hart and Stone Cold.
You going with submission?
Yeah, that had so much storytelling in it, and then they had the double swap, and
One says Brett and Austin. Billy says Foley.
That was awful good. Foley and Edge was really good. It took Edge to another level. It really did. That's tough for me. I think because Austin became the breakout star he was from that match, I'm going to go with the Hart and Stone Cold.
and then remember, Hart become a heel too. They swapped.
Yep, double turn. But there ain't been very many of those.
It's too hard to pull off.
Hart and Stone Cold looks like it's going to be, I think.
Number one against number two.
Yep. Taker and Mankind, Hell in a Cell versus Hart and Stone Cold submission match, WrestleMania 13. What do you guys think? Just the shock of Taker and Mankind.
Yeah.
I still watch it and it still gets me.
Yeah, I'll go Taker and Mankind.
Yeah. Everybody else tried to duplicate that, but then they'll put an airbag under the announce table.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Foley didn't have it, and he damn near hit one of them monitors. He could have broke his back and everything else if he'd hit one of them monitors just right.
He'd have been dead. I mean,
Yep. We'll be Taker and Mankind, guys.
and not only did he go off the top of the cage once, then you go through the cage into the ring.
And later on, and that chair come down and hit him.
Yeah. And then he wanted to do the tack spot twice.
Busted his tooth out through his.
Yeah, and then I was going to say that visual because his tooth is out and he's smiling. It was.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think we'll ever see anything like it.
Yeah, I don't either. Okay, what we got left, guys? We got our
We probably should have never seen that. That was probably farther than it ever should have been. Because I mean, he survived it, but he seriously could have been either paralyzed or worse.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. What he did. And Taker's like, man, just let's stop. And he wouldn't stop. Okay, we got our Bleacher Report 80s bracket, and we also got the Indiana Pro Wrestler with Marcus Fine. So, Marcus, I'm going to let you go next.
Okay. Big career here. I'm more amazed at how much these guys had careers than they actually did. I got an interesting fact if you want to hear it. I seen Jeremy Hagley wrestle 3 different matches last week, in 3 different promotions, 3 different cities, but in the same exact ring in all 3 of them.
Really?
So, yeah, Damian Michael Cole's ring was at Summit, was at Wrestling Theology, and it was at Merge, the same ring in all 3 spots.
Huh.
So it's getting around as well as I am, basically, because he said he rented that out, I think 5 times last week.
I thought Hadley wrestled in the Hadley Dome
Yeah.
Saturday night.
Well, it could have been the Hadley Dome.
I love his social media posts. He cracks me up every time.
He's seen us at, I don't think he's seen us at Emerge because we were in the back row, but he caught sight of us at Wrestling Theology across the ring. He goes, "Oh, you've got to be kidding me." And of course, Harry Cub, "Are you stalking me?" It started it on me. Okay, today's wrestler from Indiana. I picked B. Brian Blair. Very long career. Really surprises me here. Okay, B. Brian Blair was born January 12th, 1957 in Gary, Indiana. And we all know him as the tag team with as the Killer Bees with Jim Brunzell, but he had a lot more of it than that. Before I get into his highlights, he was married to Mike McGurk, which was a ring announcer. Do you remember her being the ring announcer in the early WWEF days? I wouldn't say early. I'd say the 80s, 90s.
Yeah, her dad was a promoter.
Yeah, I'll get to that here in a minute.
Okay.
Leroy McGurk was her father. But he was married to her for a while. He also owned 4 Gold's Gyms with Steve Kern down in Tampa. And now he's in the politics, and I will not go into the politics because I couldn't follow the reading anyway, and I don't care. So, but he's in politics now. He was also there the day that Brutus Beefcake had the parasailing accident that about killed him, and he actually is the one that pulled him out of the water. And he is the current president and CEO of the Cauliflower Alley Club. And if you're not familiar with that, that's like a organization that helps former wrestlers in their time of need financially and stuff. And they do conventions every year. So, in high school, he was very active in sports, and he still holds at sports and activities. And wherever he went to school, he still holds the record for the number of letters, those letter jackets and stuff for sports and athletics, wherever that was at. It didn't really say where he went to school. After graduation, he started training at Championship Wrestling from Florida. He played football for the St. Leo College, and then he transferred to Louisville and played there. And he majored in business and political science. He trained with Hiro Matsuda in Florida. He debuted in 1977 in a tag match, and he didn't say who his tag partner was, but he went up against Pat Patterson and Ivan Koloff, which would have been interesting.
Yeah.
And one of his very first opponents was a very young, unknown Hulk Hogan at the time. Then he went to the NWA Central States in Kansas City in 1978, and he feuded with Jesse Ventura, another political man. And here you go. He appeared regularly for Leroy McGurk's Tri-State promotion, and that's where he met Mike and married her. He was in WCCW and lived with David Von Erich for a while. In 1981, he did work for the WWE, but he was on their Japan tours and wrestled Antonio Inoki and Tatsumi Fujinami. Oh, yeah, I love Medusa. She's a monster truck driver now, I think. But then he went to the WWE as a Killer Bee, of course, with Jim Brunzell. And they had the thing called the mask confusion. That's where they put the masks on and swap. Yep. And if you remember later down the line, then they'd hand those masks out. And my dad always made it funny because Coco Beware was one of them, and they did that mask confusion that we weren't supposed to know.
Yeah.
Brunzell Is it Coco Beware? How are we supposed to know? But Dad still will bring that up if you ask him about it. They wrestled the Hart Foundation. They're guessing anywhere between 300 and 600 times in the WWE. They did wrestle the Funks in Toronto for the big event that drew 70,000 people, and that's on DVD somewhere. I think it's even on the network called The Big Event.
Yeah, I think it is on there.
They split. Okay, he split after SummerSlam '88 because they recast him as a singles. He became a jobber on TV unless he wrestled. No, if he's on TV, he wrestled jobbers. If he wrestled in house shows, he was the jobber. And he left in 1988 because they promised him the tag team titles 3 times, and it just never happened. He did wrestle. He was at WrestleMania 2, 3, and 4. He was on Saturday night's main events 8, 10, and 15. Bret Hart was his favorite opponent. No, it was Bret Hart's favorite opponents. They liked working the bees. He did go and wrestle the AWA champion Larry Zbyszko and won via DQ. Then he went and worked for Herb Abrams' UWF. If you don't know anything about that, that guy was as nutty as you can get.
Yep, sure
There's
was.
a dark side of the ring. If you don't know who Herb Abrams is, that guy was just, I can't even go into it. That guy was something else. So they brought Jim Brunzell in, and since they couldn't use the Killer Bees because it was used by the WWE, they were known as Mass Confusion. They competed on the only pay-per-view Beach Brawl. They were the only UWF tag champs, mostly wrestling jobbers. And B. Brian Blair did have a feud with Bob Orton Jr. Sorry. And then after the UWF, he basically wrestled in the Indies and Japan. And the titles that I had down, he was a 2-time NWA Florida champ, a 2-time NWA Florida tag champ. One was Steve Kerr and one was Cyborg. A 1-time NWA Southern champ, a 1-time American tag champ with Al McGrill. A 1-time Central States tag champ with Bulldog Bob Brown. A 1-time Tri-States junior heavyweight champion. A National Wrestling League Tag Team Champion with Paul Orndorff, and of course the UWF Tag Team Champions with Jim Brunzell. So now he's in politics, and like I said, I was reading that, it's like I ain't writing that down. We'll just say he's in politics and leave it at that. So I couldn't understand any of that when he went to the house here, he wrestled, and he worked here, and then he went for this. Okay, they don't care. I don't care. They don't care. If you care, go read it. I'll tell you about it.
Yeah, he had a long career.
Yeah, he did. And I think he's on that dark side of the ring talking about the nutty Herb Abrams.
Yeah, he is. He's on a few of those.
Yeah.
I think he was even on Beefcakes.
Was Beefcake on the dark side of the ring?
Yeah, I think he might have been on Beefcakes.
I didn't realize Beefcake had one. Maybe I have to go back and look at those. Talked about the parasailing accident and all that?
Yeah, I think he had one.
I'll have to go look.
Okay. Next up, I've got the Bleachers Report greatest wrestlers of the 80s, and I've got a bracket, top 32. Remember, this is from what they did in the 80s, guys. Not the 70s or the 90s. This is them in the 80s. And that will probably reflect some in the rankings. First matchup, number 1 versus a 32. It's Ric Flair, number 1, against number 32, King Kong Bundy.
Ric Flair to Bundy. Well, I got to go with Flair because that's just funny. Bundy did a lot, but not near what Ric Flair did.
No.
Yeah, I'll say Flair. Dangerous says Flair.
I doubt you're going to get a Bundy.
I wouldn't think so.
Who gave you Bundy? Who was it?
It was Flair. It was Glenn said Bundy, and then he said no. He said Flair.
I knew somebody'd do that.
Next matchup. This is a pretty good matchup. honestly, for a 2 and a 31, it would have been the guy probably would have been 31 if he hadn't got hurt. Number
Hang on
2,
a
Hulk
minute.
Hogan.
Hang on a minute. Justin Danger, did you really wrestle Bundy? Was that in Kokomo? Because I know Bundy was in Kokomo. I remember you used to be able to go into when the Golden Corral was open, and Bundy'd have an autographed picture up on the wall.
I saw Bundy here in Muncie
Yep.
at a show here a long time ago. But
I did not know that. Very good. Is that on
Uh,
VHS? Shit. Is that on tape somewhere? Is that online?
yeah, that'd be cool to see
Yeah.
if there's a video of it out there. That'd be cool to watch.
Had number 2, Hulk Hogan versus number 31, Magnum TA.
I'm gonna have to go with
The
Hogan
80s?
only because Magnum's career got
Gotta go-
cut short. But if Magnum's career did not cut short, I have a feeling he'd be the guy.
He wouldn't be 31. He would have been a lot higher up on the list. He was big, man. He was hot. Danger's going with Magnum.
You know, Magnum was good. It's just his career got cut too short.
Yeah, I think you got to go with Hogan, like him or not. Okay, my next matchup, I'm gonna go with number 3 versus number 30. This is battle of the bodies. Dusty Rhodes versus Buddy Rose. Dusty Rhodes versus Buddy Rose.
How the hell did Buddy Rose make that list?
He made the list. I couldn't believe it. He was on that list, but he was number 30.
Dusty.
Got to go with Dusty.
Oh, this is more comical than I thought it would be.
Okay. Next, we got number 4, Roddy Piper against number 29, Pedro Morales.
But you're talking the 80s.
Talking the 80s. If we was talking 70s,
Pedro
I think
had
you
him.
gotta go Pedro. But you got to go Piper, I think.
Yeah, you got to go Piper. Because by the time the 80s rolled around, Pedro was kind of starting to slow down.
This is number 5 versus number 28 matchup. Number 5, Harley Race versus Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Well, Race was the world champion,
Yeah.
but not
Race
very
was-
long.
Race was slowing down in the 80s, but he still did a lot in WWE, even with the King gimmick and everything. I think you still got to go with Race.
But okay, now I'm thinking a little different because Greg the Hammer Valentine was the U.S. champion and the Intercontinental champion in the 80s.
Yep.
And Race Flair for the Gold was in 82.
Yep.
And then he didn't have anything else after that. I'm gonna go Valentine, even though he probably will get kicked out.
Did Harley have the Intercontinental champion at all?
No, I don't think he held any title in the. I mean, he was King of the Ring, but that was before it was a big deal.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Valentine, even though I doubt he'll make it. But and he was tag team champion too with Beefcake.
I think we're getting some Valentines. What do you think, Chris? You know more about Valentine than you do Race.
Yeah, I would go Valentine just because I've seen more Valentine.
It looks like Valentine's gonna get it.
Ooh, boy.
Upset here. That's an upset. But I do understand you guys' thinking on that. Next up, I got a 6 versus 27. Number 6, Randy Macho Man Savage versus 27, Lex Luger.
Boy, why did you have to put those two together? Think of what happened with those two in the
I know.
Elizabeth situation. I'm going to go with Savage, but
Yeah, Savage was bigger than the 80s. Not
Yeah,
even
I'm going with
close.
Savage.
Johnny Valentine. No, Johnny Valiant. Johnny Valiant managed Valentine and Beefcake.
Yep, sure did.
Johnny Valentine was Greg's daddy.
Next up, I've got a 8 versus 25. I've got Sting versus Kevin Sullivan.
Surprised Sting's that far down the line. Sting.
I think you got to go with Sting. I mean, Sullivan was very influential, but I think it's not close.
Well, now you're talking the 80s though. Sting didn't really become a big deal until the 90s.
Well, he got pretty big 87, 88, 89. You stop thinking about it, he got fairly big there.
Yeah, I'm still have to go Sting. I'm trying to think of
it was late 80s when he had his first match with Flair.
Yeah.
It really made him.
Yeah, I'll still go with Sting.
In the 80s. I'm still gonna go with Sting too.
I'll go with Sting.
He's part of that UWF too.
We got some Sullivans.
Got two Sullivans.
Yeah, see, I'm going with Sting, but Sullivan did do quite a bit in the 80s.
Well, especially early 80s in Florida.
Yeah, and I actually seen Sting wrestle Cactus Jack one night at the Coliseum.
Right now,
we
got
went to wrestle Jake the Snake that night too.
Right now, it's still 3-2 Sting unless somebody else jumps in.
He was part of when Sting first come out. Eddie Gilbert was his manager basically, and then when the NWA kind of bought out that UWF company that we talked about earlier, then Sting they knew what to do with him.
Okay, we'll go with Sting because it's 3-2. Next up, number 10, Barry Windham, and they did use tag teams in this one. Barry Windham versus the Freebirds.
Why would they do that? Which Freebirds? Well, you're talking the 80s Freebirds, okay. Yep.
But listen to this, Marcus. Wait till I tell you number 19 tag team. You're gonna freak out because of who they've got number Freebirds 23. So 10 versus 23. Windham versus the Freebirds. I think you got to go with Barry.
For the 80s? What did he do in the 80s? He held the tag team titles with Mike Rotundo, but the Freebirds were dominating Tex. I'm gonna go with the Freebirds.
He was part of the Horsemen in 88, 89.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go with the Freebirds because of what they done in Texas and the Free.
That's true. That's true. And that was the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was U.S. champ. He was tag team champions. WWE. Windham was. He had a national heavyweight title and with the Horsemen. He had some belts. He didn't get the world championship in the 90s with WCW. And that is true, Marcus. I think I'm gonna have to switch to the Freebirds. I think you're right. We'll have another upset, guys. I think. What do you think, Chris?
I was gonna go with Windham just because I know a little bit more about him than I do the Freebirds.
Who had the better career? I mean, let's think. I mean, we're only supposed to go by the 80s, but the Freebirds fizzled out pretty quick. They were big in Texas. Man, I don't know.
Yeah, once WCCW kind of folded up, they kind of did too. Because the Michael Hayes, Jimmy Garvin, which was 90s, that
that was okay, but it wasn't.
I'm still
it
going
wasn't
to go Freebirds. Freebirds still got it.
That's a tough one.
Yep,
it's going to be the Freebirds.
Wow.
Okay. Next matchup I'm going to go with is this is going to freak you out, Marcus. Number 14, Bob Backlund, versus number 19, the Road Warriors. How are the Road Warriors that low?
And Bob Backlund, his claim to fame was in the 70s, not the 80s. He was a nut in the 80s, so you know who I will pick
Well,
anyway.
yeah, yeah. It was more than 90s when he was not because he lost the title in what
Yeah.
83.
He lost the title in '83, right before Sheik dropped it to Hogan, and then he disappeared.
Yeah,
So you got to
then
go to the
come back and
Warriors because they started in '82, and
yeah, I think so too. What do you think, Chris?
I say Road Warriors. Justin Danger says Road Warriors.
Yep.
Hey, how's it going, Big Country?
what's up, Travis?
Next up, I've got this is going to be tough. Number 9 in the 80s, Jerry Lawler versus number 24, the Rock and Roll Express.
Now you're making me think.
Lawler went to the WWE. It was more
That was more '90s.
90s. He was he was big. He was big time. Still,
Somebody
even
asked
though
me the other day, they think that he held the most titles of anyone.
I think so too overall.
I'm
Rock and
gonna
Roll
go with
Express.
Lawler,
The Rock and
even
Roll.
though I love the Rock and Roll Express.
That's really tough.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go Lawler too if it's the '80s. Oh man, that's a tough one because the Rock and Roll did very well too. I'll still go with Lawler.
I think Lawler also, guys.
Yeah, I
Billy
agree
says
with that.
Lawler.
Okay, we've got this is an interesting matchup. Number 13 versus number 20. 13 Rick Martel versus number 20 Kerry Von Erich.
I'll have to go with Kerry because Martel did hold the AWA title for a year and a half, but
I
that
feel
was
like
about all his claim to fame was. And I know he held the tag belts with Tony Gurria and Zbyszko, but nobody remembers that.
I feel like Martel. Excuse me. I feel like Martel was bigger in the '90s than in the
Yeah.
'80s.
Name wise, probably.
Yeah, because you could ask anybody who Kerry Von Erich was, they'd know. Rick Martel, they
Yeah.
might not. I'll go with
I think I gotta go with Kerry too, guys. Next up, number 16 versus 17. Tito Santana versus number 17, Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Now, are you going about ability or popularity?
Well, you're going by both.
Well, you know,
In the ring.
Hacksaw to this day is still very popular, but
Yeah, in the ring, Tito was better in the ring.
oh yeah,
But
Tito held the title.
Tito was pretty hot there in the early 80s. 85, 86, he started losing steam.
Well, remember, he held the Intercontinental title twice, and he held the tag belts with Martel
A few
once.
times too. Yeah, man, I don't know.
And Hacksaw didn't hold any titles. Well, he might have in what was that, Mid South? Or
Justin
Dean
Danger
Watson
says
in Mid-South?
Hacksaw.
I'm gonna go with Tito.
I think I'm going with Tito too. I mean, I think Hacksaw is a more popular wrestler.
Oh yeah,
But
he did win the first Royal Rumble. That's true.
That's true. That's true.
Billy said Hacksaw.
What do you think, Chris?
If Kelly was awake, she'd say Hacksaw because she loves Hacksaw.
Yeah, I was gonna say Hacksaw.
Okay, we're gonna go with him then.
Did he win?
Yep. Next matchup: number 12 Arn Anderson versus number 21 Nikita Koloff.
I'll go Arn.
You got to go with Arn because Nikita's was cut short too. He quit wrestling because his wife got sick.
I'll say Arn. Justin Danger says Arn as well. So I would say I'd say Arn would win that one.
Well, I think Arn was a better wrestler than Nikita was anyway.
Number 15. I think he was kind of low. I know his health started failing, but I think he should have been higher up on the list. Number 15, Andre the Giant versus number 18, Ultimate Warrior.
For the 80s. No, you have to go with Andre. He held most of it.
Yeah, he was in the biggest match ever in '87.
Yeah.
I think you got to go Andre. And I think he should be higher on the list myself.
Yeah,
That's
because
just
Warrior didn't really come around till 88.
89. 88,
He was the
89.
Dingo Warrior. Nobody, I don't think they really cared for the Dingo Warrior in Texas. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go Andre. I'm surprised he's that low on the line though.
I agree. Number 7, Nick Bockwinkel versus number 26, Jake the Snake Roberts.
Depends on who you liked. Bockwinkel held the title a lot during the 80s. I'm gonna have to go with Nick.
I'll say Jake.
That's tough for me.
Justin Danger says Jake.
I think I'm going Jake too. Well, Jake's going to get it. Okay, our last first round matchup is number 11, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat versus number 22, Ted DiBiase. I mean, both of them were hot in the 80s.
Yeah, I know. Steamboat held the world title for a little while, 3 months. Held the Intercontinental title very briefly.
A lot of people think he's one of the greatest matches ever with him and Savage in 87.
But Ted DiBiase also held like the Mid-South title. And oh, man, I'm going to have to go DiBiase because then you had all that.
I think DiBiase, a lot of his stuff might be more 90s, though. In WWE.
Well, yeah, I was thinking when he was wrestling with Hacksaw and Matt Bourne and all that, Terry Taylor.
Yeah, I think I got to go with Steamboat.
All right. I'm on DiBiase.
What do you think, Chris?
It's a tough one for me. I'm gonna go with DiBiase.
Like Ted's going to get it, guys.
Yeah, I think more people remember the Hogan screw job than they do the Savage Steamboat match at WrestleMania 3, if you had to ask the two. Because everybody remembers the crooked referee and all that. And it was in Indy, so you're asking a bunch of Indiana people.
Okay, next up then, we have our first second round matchup. We got Flair, who's the number 1 seed, taking on number 17 seed, Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Flair.
It's going to be Flair. This is going to be interesting. Number 9 seed, Jerry Lawler versus number 8 seed, Sting.
If you're going the 80s, you got to get. I'm going to have to give it to Lawler.
So I'm gonna say
If you're
Lawler.
going the 90s, it'd definitely be Sting.
But I think in the 80s, I think Lawler.
Justin Danger says Lawler. That's 4 Lawlers right there.
Yeah, we'll be Lawler, guys. Next matchup, number 4, Roddy Piper versus number 20, Kerry Von Erich.
That's a tough one.
It's but if you go nationally wise, it's
That's
not
what
close. Piper. I think it's gonna be Piper. I mean, because what he had at WrestleManias during that time, and also what he had before that with Hogan at Madison Square Garden, and then the first WrestleMania.
Well, he's also in Flair for the Gold with Greg Valentine. Yeah, you have to go with Piper because Von Erich was regional.
Next matchup, number 12, Arn Anderson versus number 28, Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Oh, I'll go Arn.
I think I'll go Arn. Justin Danger said Piper didn't need belts. He had riots.
That's true. Looks like it's going to be Arn because I'm going with Arn too. There's 4 already. Next up, number 2 versus Hulk Hogan versus number 15, Andre the Giant.
We know how that worked out.
But I tell you, you stop and think about it, the attraction that Andre was.
Yeah, and he had Hogan didn't become a big, he was AWA and all then too.
Early 80s. You got to give the early 80s to Andre, but then you got to give the late 80s definitely to Hogan.
Yeah, and Hogan ended up beating him. So I'll go Hogan.
The middle 80s is probably Ty. So
I'm going to go Hogan.
Yeah, I'm on Hogan.
Justin Danger went with Andre. Man, I guess you got to go with Hogan because everything changed. But I'm real close to Andre too, but I think I got to go Hogan. So it's going to be, looks like going to be Hogan. Next up, Freebirds versus Jake the Snake Roberts.
Oh, now Jake's got it.
The 23 versus 26. That was 2 upsets. I think Jake too. That's gonna be next matchup. This is gonna be interesting. Number 3, Dusty Rhodes versus number 19, the Road Warriors.
Oh shit! See, I knew you'd do that to me. Well, you know who I pick.
You going? Well, you're probably going to the
We're
Warriors.
going the other. You're
going
going to
Dusty.
Dusty. So now it's up to Chris. Let's put it on him.
Chris, what do you think?
I know who he's going to pick.
I said we go tie.
He wants to go tie.
He
I was a
left
big
out.
fan of both.
You guys gonna help us on this one?
I was a big
guys.
fan of both of them. Justin Danger says Dusty. I'm gonna go Dusty as well.
Gonna be Dusty. Okay, last matchup of the 16. It was number 22, Ted DiBiase versus number 6, Randy Macho Man Savage.
Jeez. Main event at WrestleMania 4.
Yes, that's true. I think you got to go Savage by barely.
Savage.
What do you think?
I'll go Savage.
Okay, we're down to our final 8 guys. This is probably closer than what some people are going to think. Number 1, Flair versus number 9, Jerry the King Lawler.
See, and those guys had a feud.
Yeah, I think you got to go
Flair
with Flair.
had to go with him. So I'm going to go Flair because Flair went into Memphis.
Yep, I think you got to go with Flair, but it's closer than what a lot of people would think. Because Lawler was.
I'm gonna go Flair.
When Memphis Wrestling was on TV down there in Tennessee, that's what everybody watched. They was getting crazy ratings. But I think I gotta go with Flair.
And it was in one of them TV stations with only 2 rows of people. And
our next matchup is Roddy Piper versus Arn Anderson. I think Piper. He was in such big events. What do you think, Chris?
I'll go Piper. Justin says Piper.
Yeah.
Who'd Marcus go with?
Piper.
Piper. Next up, number 2, Hulk Hogan versus the surprise of the brackets, number 26, Jake the Snake Roberts. I would love to go for Jake, but you got to go for Hogan. If I didn't go for Andre, I got to go for.
You know, those two never wrestled each other.
Yeah, Jake's mad about it.
Well, and they said they never wrestled each other because they would be cheering Jake when Hogan was the face, and they didn't want that. So he said that on a shoot interview somewhere, and then somewhere the Ultimate Warrior screwed him or something. I don't know.
Okay, next up, number 3, Dusty Rhodes versus number 6, Randy Macho Man Savage.
Ooh, I've seen them 2 wrestle in Indianapolis one night.
Yep.
I'm going to go Savage.
Man, that's tough. Because Dusty was in Starcades in the 80s, and Randy was in the WrestleManias. I got to go Dusty. But Danger went Savage. This is greatest wrestlers of the 80s. You just turning in.
I want Savage too. Yeah, Austin, we already did the top 15 women.
Well, you can give us your list.
Yeah, throw your list on there, Austin. We want to see it.
Yeah, let's see it. What we say? What everybody want with Savage?
Savage.
Yeah.
Okay, we're down to our final 4. First matchup is number 1 seed Ric Flair against the number 4 seed Roddy Piper.
Ooh, and they've wrestled each other too.
Many times.
Hmm.
I tell you what, most people won't say Flair, but you look at what Piper did in the 80s at all those WrestleManias, and what he did at Madison Square Garden with the Rock and Wrestling Connection and the feud he had with Flair, I'm going Piper, guys.
Yeah, and he was also on the first WrestleMania, and he was also in Starrcade. So yeah, I'll go Piper as well for that very reason.
Piper won.
Yeah, Piper's going to get it. Next up is Hulk Hogan, the number 2 seed, taking on the number 6 seed, Randy Macho Man Savage.
The main event at WrestleMania 5.
Pablo, stop. Very tough. I can make a case for Savage, but I'm gonna give it to Hogan because they're gonna say he was in the biggest main event of maybe all time. Even though some people say Savage was in the greatest match at that same WrestleMania.
I'm gonna go Hogan.
I think
You
you got
got
to go Hogan.
because he main evented WrestleMania as the first 9 anyway.
So that leaves our final 2 come down to the number 4 seed Piper versus the number 2 seed Hulk Hogan.
The first WrestleMania. The war to settle the score. Several Saturday night main events.
And they were all, the next year, I think WrestleMania 2, Hogan took on Bundy, Piper took on T.
Two was terrible.
Yeah, it did.
Terrible bad.
Guys, I'm going with Piper.
Yeah, I'm going with Piper too. I am
danger with Piper.
I'm going with Piper too.
Piper gonna win it.
So that was the number 4 seed. So that's what we got. Austin, why don't you put your top 15 women on there?
And if anybody's got any ideas for next week,
well, I've got.
Or do you have something?
I've got something lined up. I'll tell you real quick. I've got we got our indie wrestling report and our pro wrestling stuff, and then your Indiana pro wrestlers. I've got. I was going to ask you guys to come up. It can be either way. It can be heel turn or face turn. But personally, your top 5 most shocking turns to you. And then I've got the best wrestlers of the 90s bracket.
All right, that'll work. What would everybody think? I've got maybe 5 or 6 weeks left of Indiana. If I go to Kentucky or Illinois and start running,
well, I said we could do that. Or I was thinking maybe we could do just pro wrestlers. Like, we could do 1 week Kurt Hennig. We could do 1 week.
Okay, I can do that too.
We could do stuff like that.
All right, we can do that. I got some big ones coming up though on the Indianas.
Also, real quick, we'll announce if there's anybody wanting to be part of our thing we got coming up on October 1st. If you can commit to it, we're putting together 8 people. We have 5 right now. Is that right? Yes. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we have 5 people committed right now. We're doing 4 of old school wrestling. We're doing 4 of wrestlers of today, and you're doing super cards. And on the super card, you get to do 8 matches. You get to you can do your concessions. It's going to be at your concessions. You can do who's going to do your national anthem, your America the Beautiful, all that stuff. You can do whatever matches you want to do, how many women matches you want to do. It's basically your show.
You pick the venue, the city.
The city. And it's your show. You get to name the show. The whole ball.
Well, you said Glenn. Who's the 5th one?
My grandson Austin's.
Oh, that's right. That's
he's
right.
He's doing new school. Marcus is doing old school. Glenn's doing old school. Chris, you want to do new school? Do new school. I can do whatever. I can do either one because I watch both. So if somebody out there would like to do it, we're needing 3 more people, and that's going to be October 1st. If somebody wants to just shoot either Marcus a message or me or Chris a message that you would like to do it, we'd like to do it at 6:30 on Monday, October 1st.
No, it's October 2nd, right? Because I thought the first.
Yes, it is a Monday. Wait a minute. Let me think. Yeah, you're right, Marcus. I did say the first. It's October 2nd. Sorry about that.
As I was remembering what we said about Summit not being on the 1st, but the 9th or the 8th. I'm sorry.
Justin Danger, would you like to do it?
Is Damon DeVille on there too? Let's see if he's still on there.
I haven't seen. He may have been on there earlier. I didn't see him for a while.
Is Justin Terrell still on with some big news?
I think he was saying, wanting you to.
No, he sent it to me, but I'll tell you after we go off air.
Okay.
Justin Danger wants to do it. Justin, would you want to do Wrestlers of Today or Old School? You gotta do one or the other. Billy'd like to do it, but he can't commit. Okay, Justin Danger is going to be another Old School. Okay.
So that's the 4 old schools.
Also got his top. Okay. So we've got what, 3 Old School? Top 16 because he couldn't figure one to eliminate. 16, he's got China. 15, Ivory. 14, Lita. 13, Bailey. 12, Beth Phoenix. 11, Bianca. 10, Molly Holly. 9, AJ Lee. 8, Victoria. 7, Rhea. 6, Asuka. 5, Charlotte. 4, Sasha. And I don't see the rest.
Did Ivory make any? Ivory didn't make my list. Did she make your list?
No, I forgot about her. And she should have made my list. Number 3, Trish. 2, Becky James. 1, Becky Lynch.
That's not a bad list.
Charlotte 5. Come on, man. I'm going to choke you.
Hey, that's your list.
Austin, you would have to know. I'm going to tell you, Austin. I went with Becky Lynch, number 1 on my list over Charlotte. I went with 2 because of her popularity. I went with her over Charlotte. That's one thing Charlotte, and it's not fair. She gets all that Flair hate because who her dad is, and I'm not saying that she didn't get some help, but she didn't get help in the athletic department and how hard she's worked. You think we give? Let me ask you this, Marcus. I think Trish Stratus and Lita were good, but do you think they was as good as wrestlers as Medusa Maselli and Sherry Martel?
Different time. It was a different time.
But as far as in-ring skills, I don't think they're as good.
No, those 2 ladies, Sherry and Medusa, was more scientific. Wasn't high flyers at all.
No.
Well, because if you also think back then, you weren't allowed to jump off the top rope and all that.
Yeah.
So that they were restricted by doing that anyway. But yeah, I think those ladies. Yeah, but I'm partial to Medusa and Sherry over the other 2 anyway. But
yeah, Medusa would do. She could. I mean, she did drop kicks and some stuff, off the top rope. Where Sherry, not as much. Maybe towards the end, but Sherry could take a bump like no other. She'd take bumps against men. When she was a manager, she could take bumps. She's probably underrated. She probably should be in the top 5, but honestly, there's not enough people because women didn't get no push at all back then.
No, not hardly.
You've seen Sherry, right? You know who Sherry is. She was with Harlem Heat. And,
yeah.
I actually seen her wrestle once. Well, maybe twice. I know I've seen her once. Velvet McIntyre was her opponent. That kind of dates that.
Well, we've got a bracket next week, Austin, where we're doing, if you wanted to come on, next week, here's what we're doing. We've got and if you want to do this, the top shocking greatest wrestling turns of all time, heel or your top 5, Austin. You do your top 5, and it can be heel to face or face to heel. And then we're doing the best 90s wrestling superstars of all time.
And you got that list, though, right?
Yes,
that's a bracket again, right?
Yeah, I think it's 32. Let me check.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's 32. I've got it somewhere. I think it's 32. I don't know what I did with it, but yeah, I've got that. That's for next week.
All right. Well, anything else?
No, I think we're good to go.
All right. We appreciate everybody watching. Please hit that subscribe button on YouTube at Gonzo Sports Room. Also, follow on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram on Gonzo Sports Room as well. We'll be back next Monday with another episode of G.W.R. Gonzo's Wrestling Room. Hope everybody enjoyed the show and have a great Monday night.
That'd be absolutely devastating.
Here, this is Joey Owens' show. They've been trying to get me on this broadcast forever, and this is the worst damn podcast I've ever been on. So you all can kiss my ass while I win this match.